again with a bit more memory, 1.4 gigs, not a huge amount, but hopefully that will be enough to get us where we want to be. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'll just do a copy layer Command J on the Mac, Control J on the PC, just so we can always get back to see what we've done. Now what I'm going to do here is go to Image, Adjustment, and come down to the curves. A lot of people seem to shy off using the curves, but I encourage people to have a go. If you're not happy playing with the actual curve itself, there's a whole bunch of drop downs you can do. You can just select all manner of things here and it'll do it for you. In this case, what I want to do is with this thing, I'll go to the middle of the curve, right on the cross there, and just hit the just tap it and release. It drops an anchor, like a pivot point, if you will. And then I'm going to come to this point here. I'm going to click and hold. Don't release it. I'm just going to pull it down until it goes to something like that. Basically, I'm trying to darken off those wheels a little bit to take our eye away from the fact that they're not a very good job. So we're covering up a multitude of sins there. And I'm going to click OK on that one. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a Command J again to make another copy layer, or Control J on the PC, and do something similar. I'm going to go to Image, Adjustment, Curves. I'm going to go, this time, I'm not going to drop a click in the middle, I'm going to click and hold, left click and hold. I'm going to push this right up now until we get a fair amount of like almost whiteness, something like around about like that, let's say, and release so it gets all white. If you'll click OK. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to basically I want to create a layer mask to hide some of that. So I'm going to click here. That creates a layer mask, and then I'm going to go to my rectangular marquee tool. And I'm going to select around the car, something like that. And now I'm going to go to the menu at the top, Select, Refine, Feather. I've got mine set to 300. Again, you're going to have to play around with that current size of the picture. But if you click OK, you'll see not only does it put a roundness to it, but it means that when I fill this, which I'm going to do in a minute with black, it blends it. It doesn't just put a harsh, sharp edge, it blends it. Now I want to fill this with black, and so I want to change my black and white foreground over by pressing X on the keyboard. And now you can either do Edit, and if you will, you want to do Edit Fill, or you can just do a Command or a Control Delete, which I'm going to do. And you will see that that's done that. Now I can do a Command or Control D to get rid of that selection. And now you'll see we're starting to get something that looks a little bit more realistic. Now I want a bit more darkness under here because now I can see these wheels again. Don't look realistic to me. So I'm just going to grab the brush. We've still got our super soft brush, and I want it to be a black. Yeah, do I want black? Yeah, I want black. So I'm going to press X on the keyboard again, and I'm going to start about here, and I'm just going to press the left mouse button, and I'm just going to pull across just to add some darks in. I may add a little tiny bit more and pull it across like that, and that's got me that. It's not brilliant, but it's starting to look a little bit better than it did for sure. I may just put a little tiny bit more in there, just shade it off a bit to drag the eye away, and that gives us a reasonably speedy car. Now, those of you who've been watching carefully will have noticed that actually this car has no driver. Not a major issue. But it hasn't, because I was a guy stood outside it taking the photo. It's my car, so that won't fool anybody. So what we need to do is to do something about that. Now the rear windows on this 10th anniversary are black and glass, and that works well. But in the UK, at least, you're not allowed to have black and glass in the front, so that's not going to work for us. So what I'm going to do is, what am I going to do? I'm going to do Command Alt Shift E to create a brand new layer that's identical to this one. That's Control Alt Shift E on the PC, and then I'm going to select my rectangular marquee tool, and I'm just going to select this rear window, and in a moment it'll become apparent why, because I'll tell you why. I want to use this sort of texture across this window, if you will. So I want that to be across here, and that way we can mask the fact there's no driver in this car. So with that selected, I'll do a command on the Mac, Command C, on the PC, Control C to copy it, and then I'm going to do a Command V or a Control V on the PC, and I don't know if you can see here, but that's actually copied that layer, just that selection, into a new layer. If I now select this tool up here, which allows me to move it, the Move tool, left click and hold, and I can drag that along here. So now we have a copy of that. Now the roof line isn't working very well for us. It goes the opposite way to where we want it to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go here, edit, down to transform, all the way down to near the bottom, and flip horizontally. So now we've got something that's where the roofline looks a little bit better, but it's still not quite how we want it. So what I'm going to do is do a Command T on the keyboard, Control T on the PC, and this enables us to change the size of this and do all sorts. So as you move around, you'll see that's a size change, and if I move out the mouse, it goes to a little curve, and that's rotation. So now with a left click and hold, I can now rotate that around, and that's good. But I still can't see what's going on when I'm trying to cover that window with this texture, and I can't see it. So with this top layer selected, go up to the opacity here, click the little drop down as outside it, and now slide along, and now we can see through this layer to the one below. If we zoom in a bit and we just grab this area, we can move around, we can see where we're going. Now what we need to do is to make sure that our window that we've copied, and you can see the edge of the window, it completely covers this window, which at the moment it doesn't. So with that there, I'm going to grab this bottom corner and I'm going to slide it out. Actually, if there's another quicker, a better way of doing this, I'm going to have to keep repositioning. Oh, sorry about that. That's my time machine kicking in. If I grab this center dot here, left click and grab, and move that up here, that'll resize around that point. Okay, it's still not quite perfect, but there we go. So grab this bottom corner. I'm going to drag it out now. Keep dragging it until essentially this you can see the window area here completely encompasses the window of the car we want to keep. Then just hit return. That's good. And now go back to the opacity layer. Okay, that's what's gone on here. It's gone very strange there. That's right, up to there, and that's all blocked in. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a layer, a mask that hides the whole of that at the moment. And the way to do that is instead of just clicking on here to create the layer, if I hold the Alt key while I click it, it'll create a black fill layer. And now that's gone. But now we want to see what we just did through this layer, but only for this window. So I'm going to grab our marquee tool, sorry, our selection tool. I apologize, I'm going a bit quickly. I'm just going to quickly cut around the window, and again, this is definitely rough and ready stuff. So I expect if you do it yourself to do a somewhat more careful and steady job. With that selected and with white as my background, so you can see white foreground, white background, do a Command Delete while that's selected, and then a Command D to deselect, and all of a sudden we're now starting to get the sort of effect we were looking for all along. And finally, of course, remember to sign your work, so go down to the text tool. There we go there. This will come up in a moment. My machine is short of memory, so that's in trying to initialize that tool. Hopefully that won't cause a crash at this stage, because that would be a little bit embarrassing right at the end of this tutorial. I've got black selected. I'm going to drop it in here like this. Here's your size. In my case, I've got 160. I tend to use Mama Gamma for my logo. Type my name. Will click on the Move tool. I'm going to move that around into where I like it. Or, you can use the once you've got the Move tool selected, by the way, you can use the arrow tools to move around. That's fine. And what I do on mine, because I don't want it to be too obtrusive, I click with this text layer selected. I click the opacity tool and I wind that right down, way down, so it's right down the background. And there you go. That's pretty much it. You can play around to your heart's content, do various bits and pieces. You know, if you wanted to, you could take a copy of this layer here, shove it above the top. You know, start lightening the edges as well, because all these things tend to show through. So you can do all manner of things, and that's about as far as I wanted to go with that one. I will say that editing cars and stuff is not really my bag. There's a whole range of other things. I mean, I've done some cars. You can see things like this. This was done at Santapor Drag Strip. This was done at a VW event, and so on. Some of these were actually were moving. For example, this one was doing 180 miles an hour. I was using a very fast shutter speed because I wanted to get the detail in the car, and I'd put the blur in later. Same with some of these. That's the picture we just did. That's one that was on the Prius chat forums. There's some other different effects you can do as well. This is my car again, my car again. This is at a VW festival, but my main thing really is models, model shoots, so things like this. You can have a lot of fun messing around with photos and putting overlays on, so on, different effects, all manner of things you can do. But for the time being, that's about all I wanted to say. So I hope that's been of some use. I apologise if I've gone too fast or it's hard to follow. I appreciate that there are better ways of doing this. I just tried to make it a way that was easily understood, and that was pretty straightforward to do. You may think it wasn't, and I apologise if it wasn't. But if you have a go, you don't have to go to great lengths. Just have a bit of a play around with some of the tools and see how you get on. Hopefully that's been of some use. Got any questions? Don't hesitate to ask. Many thanks. Bye bye now.